Welcome to the basic map guide for Fjords. Oh, the wonderful, wonderful fjords. There's actually not a lot of land on this map, there's an awful lot of water. So let's get on with it. If you're attacking from the east side, you've basically got four routes you're going to take. The first route you're going to take is the 9-0 line, or going north. This is a route you take where you don't see much action at the beginning, you turn a corner and it all gets very exciting. The other route is across the F line, where you then have to pick, are you going to head north to F6 or 7, or are you going to try and cross through the middle? And the last place you're going to go to is J5, or going south. And if you're attacking from the west side of the map, it's pretty much the same deal. You're going to head up and pretty much have a holding pattern on the B, A line round about 5 or 6, or you've got to hold or push through the center line on F, or you've got to go down to J5 and slug it out with other teams. So which tanks are going where? Let's deal with the lights first. If you're playing on the east side, lights usually head very quickly up the 9-0 line, and they're really trying to get to A8 so they can figure out what the enemy's doing all across the AB line all the way up to 7. Or you'll see them zoom down the F line and quick a big hard right turn, find their way up to E7 so they can also spot across the land, and some crazy ones head off into the water at F5, where they go to two places. They either mount and go to E5, or they cross the water and get up to E4 to cause all sorts of hell for everyone. You don't usually see lights going south. If you've got lights and you're on the west side of the map, it's pretty much the same thing. You charge as fast as you can, trying to get over to A6 or A7, and really you're trying to spot if the team are making a 9-0 push from the other side. You also zoom across with speed and get yourself to E45 so you can look over that water gap and punish anyone who's trying to cross it. You're also making sure that you get up to D5 because you want to make sure that anyone coming around the corner around about D7 gets punished as well. So it's all about spotting. Get position, stay alive, spot for your team. If you've got the heavies, you're really only heading to one place, and that's round about J5. There's going to be a big heavy fight there. Somebody somewhere has to decide who's coming around the corner. If you're on the east side, you've got to push round, you're going to have a great time. If you're on the west side, you've got to be a little cautious. Trying to push around that corner and heading into H5 leaves you open to crossfire all the way over from H9. We'll get to that in a bit when we talk about TDs. You will often see heavies camping around about F3, and you'll see them in their analog on the other side at F6. You don't usually see heavies north of the D line. It takes too long to get there and you can't do much good. You've got a really slow moving heavy, or you're in a low tier heavy, then sometimes if you're on the west side you can head over to C4 and sort of like hold your ground, but really you're just being a passive TD. And talking about TDs, here's where we go. If you're on the east side of the map, well, you can squat at H9. It's a really good TD spot. It's a little defensive, but it allows you to cover all the way along the H line to protect your heavies. It also allows you to shoot to the F line to protect the people trying to cross middle, and you can also do amazing shots as far as D6. So it's a really, really good spot. If you get seen, you're going to get trashed, but hey, that's the risk you take. TDs can also trundle up the 9-0 line, but I'm not sure it's worth it. You will find a lot of love if you park yourself on the F line to protect that crossing through the middle. You can go down to J5. I'm not sure you're going to get much love. There's going to be too many heavies in the way. If you've got TDs and you're on the west side of the map, you're pretty much camping at F3. You're doing that because you don't want anyone to cross middle, and F3 allows you to give cover down to J5 if that crumbles. You can go down to J4 to help with your tank push or be more defensive. You also see a lot of TD love on C4, C5 and B4, and what you're doing there is you're protecting for a rush from the enemy team across the A line or coming up through D7. If you've got mediums, well, you're trundling with force. If you're on the west side, you're going to make your way over to D5, D6. You're also going to make your way over for a big combat around about A8, B7, B6. They're also going to happen around about D5 and D6 from both sides. There might be some scrapping down in F5, but really that's usually the TDs arguing it out. If you've got artillery and you're on the west side, you're going to find yourself at B1, B2, sometimes at A3. Over on the east side of the map, artillery is going to find itself way down in J0. What are you doing down there? You also see them at A0, and sometimes you'll find them at E90, and they're giving great covering fire. I have seen lunatic artillery go up the 9-0 line and give cover on the A line. That's usually things like the FV304, but you know, it gives and takes. Fjords, it's a really complicated, interesting map. It can be very infuriating. It's the sort of map that pays if you know what you're doing and your team can work together. It's all going to be decided on the push at J5 and whether or not they made a run on the A line at 8 or 9. So we'll see you on the wet and windy battlefield.